Hey friends, how's it going? Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope that you're doing well. So today I was checking out the old fragrance collection, which you could say is a little bit oversized. I don't even know how many I have at this point, honestly. It's like over 3,000. It makes me sound like an intense psychopath if a normal person asks me, how many fragrances do you own? I hear you enjoy them. Oh yeah, I don't know. Yeah, 3,000. They immediately am gonna think I'm a serial killer or something. Or the biggest loser on earth. Could be that too. And another thing that I love about that is anytime the number of fragrances that I have comes up, it's always, bet you hope there's no earthquake. That's a good one. Never heard that one before. You got me. Thankfully, since I have lived here in this area my whole life, there have been 0 earthquakes, knock on wood. But yeah, I was looking through everything and I was like, what would I buy again, designers, if I had to start over? First off, that would be awful. But second off, yeah, I guess I can pick some. And that's what I did. And I'm gonna be sharing those with you here today. Let's just jump straight into it with the most obvious one, get it out of the way right off the bat. Dior Homme Intense. Dior Homme Intense. I have to own it. It's like a prerequisite. It would be the first fragrance that I bought, even though it wouldn't be the fragrance that I wear the most. Because this is more of a formal fragrance. It's very specific, the times that you would really want to wear this one, because it's got a lot of performance, lasts a long time, projects like a monster. It's rich, it's deep, it's a little bit sweet, creamy, makeup-y, lipsticky, whatever you want to call it. It has a really prominent iris note. I love iris in fragrances. Actually, I legitimately had to stop myself from adding in a bunch of iris fragrances in this list. Because yeah, I'd absolutely buy them, but if I go like, hey, Dior Homme Intense, oh, by the way, Valentino Wowo Intense, I'd get that one too. Ooh, Gentleman Eau de Parfum, gotta get that one. And it's just like, okay, so just a lot of fragrances that are pretty similar with a lot of lipsticky iris. Got it. So I wanted to whittle that down to just one, the first one that I would scoop back up, and it'd be this. Now, to be fair, as I said, this is more of a formal fragrance, a very specific time of scent. This is not an everyday type of fragrance, but this is one that I would bust out more than you might expect just because I love how it smells. So I'm gonna kick it off with DHI. This thing is making noises over here like it wants to come down. Stay up there, you sucker. Before we hop to the next fragrance, here are codes. Here they are. Commit those to memory, put those into your memory banks, and then use the codes from your memory banks to save some money that you can take the money you saved and put it back in your bank, your physical bank, your real bank, your money bank. Which one do we want to go with next? Let's go with this. YSLY Live. Yes, Y Live. Now, to be fair here, I'm a fan of the Y line. And if everything went goodbye, I would just pick all of them up eventually. And Y Eau de Parfum would kind of be there with Y Live. Those would be like my 1-2 punch. But Y Live, I feel like gets overlooked a lot. So that's why I put it in here. This thing is an absolute compliment monster. It really is. People love this. It lasts a long time. It projects well. It smells vaguely like you took some of the Y DNA, some of the Invictus DNA, and you put it together. And this is one that if you're in the US, you're gonna have to find at a discounter. So Joma Shop, Fragrance Net, Fragrance Buy, something like that, that's where you're gonna have to find it. If you go to Macy's website or Ulta or into a Macy's or into an Ulta, not gonna find this one. At retail in the US right now, you're gonna find Y Eau de Toilette, Eau de Parfum, Le Parfum, Elixir, but not this one. And it's a shame because this stuff has always done amazingly well for me, and it has year-round versatility. Daytime, nighttime, any season, you can wear that. Okay, what you do need to do. Let's keep it fresh. Eau Givre next. Terre d'Hermès Eau Givre. I'd like to take this moment to do something I've done 15,000 times before. Eau Givre beat my fragrance for fragrance of the year. Yeah, so this one and Terra Nova, which I creatively directed, were up for Fragrance of the Year last year for the Fragrance Foundation Awards and OG Grade 1. But to be fair, obviously I like this a whole lot. So no hard feelings, but shameless self-promotion. Those fragrances, Terra Nova, South Slope, West Loop, Edgewater, Jet Black Enigma, all of those available in every Perfumania and fragrance outlet store in the US. Check them out in stores or on Michael Malo's website, which is linked below. Code Gents. I love the smell of this stuff, man. It's really, 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 really good. The opening is super brisk, fresh, slightly tart. Citrus in there smells fantastic. As it dries down, you get a really nice woodiness. Very clean, elegant, modern, the way that it's done. It's a really nice, classy scent for spring and summer. Good daytime fragrance, good office fragrance. And of all the Terre d'Hermes fragrances, that's the one I reach for the most at this point. I know, to some people that's sacrilege. How could you do that? How could you say that? I'm a big fan of Terre d'Hermes. I am. Just about all of them, but that one is the easiest to wear. Let's go to something completely different. Paco Rabanne Invictus Victory Elixir. This is the first elixir being featured here. It will not be the last. Yeah, elixirs have taken over the world. And this is one of my favorites. This has great performance. This is a fall wintertime stunner. The vanilla in here is fantastic. It has a really nice carbonated kind of feel to it, you know, this bubbly effervescence with the sweetness. It is another big compliment puller, and that is a fragrance that when it starts to chill out outside, I reach for it. It's a newer release compared to some of the other ones in here, like obviously Durome Intense has been out for a while. Live has been out a little longer than these two. And it did come down to this one or Valentino Uomo Born in Roma Intense. I was thinking about putting that in here as well, but I ended up going with this one. Tell you what though, catch me on a different day, and I'll put Valentino Uomo Born in Roma Intense in its place. Let's go with this next, Versace Oud Noir. This is one that I have loved ever since it came out. And when it did come out, it was pretty difficult to find in the US. I've talked about this before. And I ordered a bunch of samples, like carded samples of this, 10 different ones. And I went through all 10 of those carded samples. And when I could finally find this, I scooped it up. I think the presentation looks great. I mean, it's that Versace pour on bottle style, really classy, looks nice. The gradient is cool. The gold and black just works. It looks classy, and it is. It's a very wearable oud fragrance. You know, you got that little tinge of sweetness, not too much, but little sweetness from the spices that are in here. The woodiness, really well done. You know, it's got like a very slight medicinal factor to it, but still, I think it smells great. And it is a potential cheaper alternative to fragrances like Tom Ford's Oud Wood. It doesn't smell exactly like Oud Wood, but it's gonna give you a similar feel, scratch that itch in a similar way. So yeah, this stuff, love it, gotta rock with that. Let's go next, Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme, and this one's been out for a while. It's one of those things where, you know, it got hyped up heavily, and it feels like, oh, that wasn't that long ago. Oh, it came out in 2012. Never mind, yeah. 12 years ago. Some of you out there are like, wait, what? That's how long it's been? Oh God. Yeah, 2012. Ugh. And actually, the Allure line feels like it's dead. So Chanel, bring that back to life. I think the last Allure release was 2014. And that one was not really like a new release. It was like a re-release or like a tweaking of, I think it was Edition Blanche, like Edition Blanche, taking it from Eau de Toilette to Eau de Parfum. So that means it has been over a decade since they've released a new Allure fragrance. And for that matter, it's been like 6 weeks. 6 weeks. It's been 6 weeks. It's been 6 years since they came out with the new Bleu de Chanel. So, just waiting for new men's Chanel fragrances like this. I'm John Travolta. Anyway, back to this. This thing is another year-round fragrance. Daytime, evening, any season. Big compliment puller, super versatile. Has a lot of tonka in there. Good dose. but that really helps with that mass appeal, that warmth and sweetness as it dries down. And it's fresh off the top as well, which is, again, why you can wear it, in spring or summer. But because off my skin, it's got pretty good push, I wouldn't go super heavy in the middle of summer, unless you want to choke yourself or other people out. New allure, please. Okay, obvious time, Acqua di Gio Profondo. That's the Eau de Parfum. That is my preferred Acqua di Gio to this point, still. I say still, but this is technically a new one, because this is the 2024 edition. Good amount of sweetness in this one, actually. Still very fresh, still has that green aspect to it, but more of like this zingy sweetness off the top. A little more pronounced for me than in the OG Profondo. That stuff works for me. Love it. I've always been an Acqua di Gio fan, so I gotta have one of those. And if I'm gonna start off with one, this be my favorite one that I can still actually buy. A lot of people would go probably Acqua di Gio Profumo if they were gonna pick like one Acqua di Gio to get, one Acqua di Gio to keep if they had none. The issue with that is Profumo, of course, has been discontinued, more difficult to find, and Profondo is just my jam. And truth be told, if Code Absolute had not been discontinued, that would be one of my choices. But Armani went and killed that one off, so no Code Absolute for me. For that matter, there are a lot of discontinued fragrances that if they weren't discontinued, probably make this list. 1 Million Privé might sneak in there. L'Homme Ultime might sneak in there. Gucci Pour Homme 2. There's a lot. Let's go Elixir again. Le Male Elixir. For me, that is the pinnacle of the Le Male line. That is an Elixir fragrance where they took the DNA and they were like, we're taking it up a notch, we're kicking it up a notch, and they did it successfully. Because Elixir fragrances, at least the way that I view them, is kind of one of two ways that it should be approached. The first way is to do something that's maybe actually not that closely related necessarily to the fragrance line that it's in, but they're gonna push boundaries a little bit and give you something that's extremely high quality. So for example, Gucci Guilty Elixir, right? It has maybe something in common with the original Gucci Guilty, the usage of white florals, but ultimately it's doing its own thing and it has a very pronounced quality difference. And then you have things like this, where you take that original DNA and you morph it and you change it a little bit, but it's still in line with what the line does, but you're putting out like the halo version of that fragrance, the best version of that fragrance, the highest quality, everything. And that's what this one does. So I think you can approach the Elixir name either one of those ways, and if you pull it off, good, either way. What you don't want to do is come out with an Elixir fragrance and have it be something that's decent, but doesn't really elevate the line in any way, because at that point, why slap that name on it? You know what I mean? Like come out with something, oh, this is the Elixir, this is the best, and you smell it and you go, yeah, it's good, but I don't know. Yeah, if that's the reaction you get, not good. Anyway, Le Male Elixir, perfect, love the stuff, fantastic. Warm, sweet, bold, rich, decadent even. A really good performance, fantastic for fall and winter time. And Le Male Parfum also just about as good. And let's do another one, Sauvage Elixir. Gotta have that. Gotta have the Sauvage Elixir. So I mentioned Gucci Guilty Elixir. Sauvage Elixir, kind of the same idea, right? When you smell Sauvage Elixir, you compare it to Sauvage Eau de Toilette, for example, or Eau de Parfum. Not really that close. So this is doing something a little bit different from what the Sauvage line had set as a precedent beforehand, and it pushes the boundary a little bit, especially when you compare it to what's coming out, or was especially coming out when this was released, across men's fragrances in general, because this one throws it back a little bit. Woody, spicy, unabashedly masculine, strong performance there, but done in a modern way with a little more smoothness than some of the fragrances that came before it. We're talking decades in the past. Absolutely love this stuff. It's one that I would wear personally, fall, winter time, daytime, or evening. It makes a good formal fragrance also, or a date fragrance. Just don't go crazy yet. All right, last but not least, Luna Rossa Black. Big fan of Luna Rossa Black. Luna Rossa Black to me has always been a fragrance that feels like it will have a very strong, but maybe a little bit small following. It doesn't have as much immediate mass appeal as something like Luna Rossa Ocean. or Luna Rossa Carbon, or even the original Luna Rossa. This one, it's dark, a little mysterious, a touch powdery, even a touch rubbery, which sounds weird, but it actually smells awesome. Nice sweetness to the scent as well, good amount of tonka in here. And it's one that sets you apart in a big way. Because yeah, it's from Prada and yeah, it's in the Luna Rossa line, so you would think, pretty mainstream. But it's really not when you compare it to, you know, the top 40, top 50 bestsellers. It's not up there. So it does have a smaller following, but the people that love this really love it, and I do. And that is one that I feel like, and you know, obviously none of us know until it happens, but that's one that I feel like whenever the time comes that it's discontinued and the stock runs dry, that the price will shoot up. Kind of like what happened with Luna Rossa Extreme in the past. So there we go. Those are the ones I would scoop up, but honestly, they're not the only ones, right? If I had to do it all over again. That's a good start. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Let me know if something like that happened with you. What would you scoop up first? Like, what would be your immediate must reorder if you got an earthquake? Stay safe out there, guys. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.